All right, today I am making white chicken enchiladas. This is a super easy recipe that's also customizable. I'm going to be using rotisserie chicken from Costco. This is a great time-saving hack. Also, I think they're like $5, so affordable as well. Sometimes I will put some frozen chicken breasts in the Instapot, cover them with like a cup of chicken broth and some taco seasoning, and then cook them on high for about an hour and then let it naturally release and then just shred with a fork. So I will do that if I haven't recently been to the store, but I did just go to Costco and pick up this lovely rotisserie chicken. So I'm just kind of shredding it up by hand. So this is gonna be for the filling. If you were counting macros or wanting to be track with protein goals, you could use a food scale to measure out how much chicken you're putting in each enchilada. Since these are for my family and they don't care, I am just going to put a lot of chicken in. So I used to eat these growing up and it's one of my favorite recipes. If you wanted to make this more kid-friendly, you could probably omit some of the ingredients. For example, I'm gonna add some diced tomatoes. But not everybody likes tomatoes. So if you're a kid that doesn't like tomatoes or an adult who doesn't like tomatoes, then you could just skip this part. Also, you could do like a jar of your favorite salsa as well. So I like to just mix that in there. I did drain some of the liquid out of these tomatoes just so it's not as watery. Then again, the idea behind this recipe is easy and quick. So cheat it a little bit using microwavable Spanish rice. If you were trying to go lower carb, you could just skip the rice. A lot of times I will make my own or do brown rice. Sometimes I'll buy those packets kind of like this, but they have like quinoa or whole grains in them as well. This is just good old-fashioned Walmart 90-second rice. So I am throwing that in here. I did microwave it first just because it makes it easier so it doesn't get all clumpy. Okay, so I've got my rice in there. Next, I'm doing some corn. So I've got a can of corn. Again, if you're trying to go lower carb, you could skip this step, but it does give it a nice texture. You can use frozen corn as well. I've done that too. So whatever you have on hand gives it a nice color too. Did you know that eating is one of the only things we do, maybe the only thing, I don't know, I didn't think about that, that includes all 5 of your senses. So you hear it, you can hear me stirring this deliciousness. You smell it, you see it, you taste it, and you hear it. So that's probably why we all love food so much. Okay, next, seasoning. So I will usually just add a little bit of taco seasoning. Now, since my rice was seasoned and my black beans are seasoned, I might go a little lighter. I'm not much of a measurer. I always feel like recipes are just a template. If you are like, that gives me anxiety, I would say just try like a packet and see how it is. Now mix that in there. Okay, and then I think that cumin is delicious. It does smell like an armpit, but it's yummy and it's not spicy, but it gives flavor. So again, if you were serving this for kids or people who don't like spicy, you could keep the taco seasoning to a dull roar and do lots of cumin. Gives it like a southwestern flavor without being spicy. It probably is really good for you because I feel like all spices have some sort of benefit. I know that cinnamon helps regulate your blood sugar metabolism. I don't know what this cumin is going to do for us, but it's gonna make it taste good. Okay, so I'm stirring that in there, making sure I'm not missing anything here. Okay, then I'm gonna add some cheese into the middle of the enchiladas. There's also gonna be cheese on top. So again, this is not necessarily like the leanest recipe, but it's really delicious. If you were trying to be, okay, if you were going for a dairy-free variety, this recipe, you could just skip the cheese or you could use vegan cheese. I honestly don't know what's in that stuff. So it could be fine, or it could just be a bunch of processed stuff and you could just skip it. That's up to you, but again, options. All right, so then I'm gonna add my black beans. You could skip the black beans, or you could do pinto beans or any other kind of beans too. Beans are a great source of fiber and protein, so I do like that. You can see it's starting to look like a fiesta over here, so that's fun. Okay, so now I've got my filling made, and I try to use whole wheat tortillas, but my family revolts. They love these basic white tortillas, so that is what we have today. You could use any variety of tortillas. So I don't eat gluten, so I would use corn for me. They're a little harder to work with. You have to kind of steam them in the microwave so they don't just rip apart. So you could do that. I know Siete is making almond flour tortillas. I haven't actually tried them. I've seen them at Costco, and I'm sure they're delicious. That would also be more of like a lower carb and like a healthy fat. Would just kind of change the makeup of the dish. So if you wanted a lower carb, more higher fat, you could do that. You could just leave this casserole as a casserole, so you wouldn't have to put it in tortillas. You could just throw some cheese on top, maybe cauliflower rice on the bottom, and bake it that way. So again, just lots of ways to use this yumminess. You could take this filling and just throw it on top of lettuce, and voila, taco salad. I like to have vats in the fridge, vats of food, so that you don't have to cook 97 times in the week, and you can just open it and go to town. So I use these big old things. Often I'll do like a couple proteins, a couple veggies, and a couple carbs, just in big things like this. And then when it's dinner time, everybody can have the quantities they want and need. Sometimes I do like the cool black containers and stack them in there, but also sometimes your fridge runs out of room, so find what works for you. So I'm gonna roll these up. I'm not great at the rolling part, not gonna lie. It's kind of like, I think, folding a fitted sheet. So there's probably some of you out there that like have a way to do this, and you could teach me, and I would be forever grateful. So I won't make 90 of these while you're watching, but you really could. You could make like 90 of these. This also freezes amazing. So you could freeze it before you bake it or after. This is one of my favorite things to make when I'm like bringing someone a meal after a baby or surgery or something, because of that. Like if they maybe got overwhelmed with meals, they could just freeze it. You put it in one of those good old tin foil things so they don't have to give you your dish back. Or if you're trying to save the earth, you can give them a nice glass dish and hope it comes back. I lost my 9x13 pan, by the way, so I don't know if it's out there somewhere in the universe, but probably gonna have to get a new one. So for the meantime, I'm using my Pioneer Woman dish here. So it's kind of cute. Okay, so you're gonna put as many enchiladas as you want. I actually had bigger tortillas and my family ate them. It's weird how that happens. Unless you hide stuff, they eat it. So these are gonna be a little smaller, but that's okay. So I'm gonna stick those in there. Now, I made a sauce. This part you could skip, but it makes it so delicious. So I just melted 4 tablespoons of butter, then I added 4 tablespoons of flour. Now you could do ghee if you were going for like a dairy-free or vegan variety. Then for the flour, I have tried gluten-free flour, like a 1-to-1 mix, that works as well. You could also do a cornstarch slurry, that's a fun word, and put it in there. I just feel really smart using it. And that's just cornstarch mixed with cold water. And then, so you basically just want to get a roux going, which is another fancy word for thickening butter, which is the base of any good sauce. So you're gonna do your flour and your butter together. And then you're gonna add a cup of chicken broth or vegetable broth. And then you add in like a cup of sour cream, which makes it yummy, and some green chilies. Now the green chilies, they're a tiny bit spicy, but honestly, they mostly just give it flavor. So you could omit that if you wanted to, but now I'm just gonna pour this amazing sauce right on top. Now, I'm not doing a whole pan right now, so you won't be bored out of your mind, but I would have a whole pan here, and then I would just really like cover these so it soaks into the tortilla. Okay, so you're gonna make it nice and pretty. Now, if your sauce is a little runny, don't fear, because it is gonna thicken a little bit because we're gonna bake these. Then, more cheese, or skip this part. Or sometimes if I'm trying to be a little bit on the leaner side, you just do like a dash of cheese or a sprinkle. If I'm making this for kids, I'm just gonna go to town with the cheese. So, top it with cheese. Now, this is the part where you get to choose your own adventure. So, you could put this in the fridge, save it for later. You could freeze it. You could take it to a friend's house, or you could pop it in the oven and enjoy. So, also, this is a little hack that I found. I don't know where my parsley went, but if you have a little dried parsley and paprika, you just sprinkle it on top, and it gives it a little color and makes you look professional. So now to serve this, I would probably serve some sort of vegetable. So I really like making like a Mexi cauliflower rice because it goes really good with the sauce, and you can just put it in the oven while these are baking. And then if you wanted to, like maybe you're having company over and this is your main dish, what do I have on me? You could serve it with like cilantro, limes, fresh tomatoes, onions, guacamole, avocados, all the works, and just make it a really yummy, delicious, colorful meal. So yeah, that's white chicken enchiladas. Super easy because most of it is already done for you. Optional sauce, and yeah, I hope you guys like it. If you try it, let me know.